Okay, I'm here with a very special founder in SF, the best place to meet founders. Why don't you introduce yourself, young man?
Hello, people. I'm Misha. I'm building things in SF. Moved here 2 weeks ago.
That's pretty lit. And tell us about your company. Tell us what you're
For
doing.
sure. So I started a company called Optix Log before I was interning at Draper Labs, where I was manually creating graphs, making analyses through a large database that they had. And my co-founder was doing the same thing at his commercial side. We saw this inefficiency, so we decided to create a database wrapper almost that takes experiments and then links metadata between them. So then that way an AI can process it, you can search through it easily, and then it creates a knowledge graph based on what you do.
That's pretty cool. So let's break it down to like first principles as like someone who doesn't know a lot about the field, because this is photonics, right?
Mm.
So first of all, let's just talk about what photonics is. What is that?
For sure. So photonics essentially is the use of photons. What photons are is light. The most common example is lasers, or your internet runs through fiber optics. You have glass tubes, they shine a light, and then instead of using in electricity, you basically use light and pulses of light or interference grams to dictate data, for example.
Got it.
Does that make sense? Or
That makes sense to me, but I hope that also makes sense to the audience. But we also just want to break down, how you got into this field. Like, it's such a niche, field. Were you always interested in lasers and?
I actually was not. I didn't know about the field until I did the internship at Draper Labs. I applied everywhere, and they said, "Hey, want to interview this?" I was like, "Okay." And then they're like, "Do you want a job?" I was like, "Okay." So then I had the job there, and that's where I found out more and got the ball rolling.
Got it. And how much have you guys raised?
You raised $120K at 3 mil valuation.
That's pretty lit.
Thank you.
And what's the firm that invested into you?
We got a 4 Capital in SF, and then the Dorm Room Fund, which is our second investor.
Got it. So are you still going to school, or what's going on?
Taking a gap semester, and then people always ask, they're like, "Hey, are you gonna drop out?" Honestly, kind of think it's stupid to decide at this point. Get the ball rolling, see where you are, when you need to decide, and then that's when you should actually ask yourself the question. So right now I'm taking a gap semester, and I don't know if I'm gonna drop out or not drop out.
Got it. And why do you think light is an efficient way to engineer, just in general?
Light is the fastest thing on Earth, right? Is that correct?
That's correct.
For sure. Has very low loss when it travels, and then basically those two things combined make it much more efficient than like a typical electrical wire per se.
So currently, other than fiber optics, what else uses light engineering?
It's called silicon photonics, which is basically your like computer chips that you have in your computer. Think of like those green things with like the wires running across. Instead of wires, you send pulses of light through waveguides, which is basically like tunnels that guide light into specific directions. There you can have it on chip, from chip to chip, and between chips you can send information instead of basically replacing all your wiring with light. So that's another major use, and that's where we're headed towards.
Got it. And in terms of like our current state of this technology, do you feel like there's a lot more upside to be made in terms of like advancements, or do you feel like we're plateauing?
Oh, there's huge upsides. A lot of teams like NVIDIA, Google, Intel, they've invested heavily in like mid-2025 into silicon photonics. So for these chips to get faster, power the data centers, power all this AI, power all this software. So it's an emerging field, and people still haven't fully figured out like what the hell it is.
What is your vision for the future of optical engineering? How do you think it will evolve?
It's going to evolve like every other industry, how it's going to grow, and then it's going to plateau eventually. Just like the digital age, for example. When computers were invented, people were like, "Yo, this is the coolest thing ever." But then obviously now we're approaching our upper limits of computing power with like bits, for example, ones and zeros. So now there's things with like quantum computing, silicon photonics to mix those ones and zeros faster, and just other ways. So it's going to be the same exact market as we've seen everywhere.
Got it. What do you think it takes to be a founder in this day and age?
It's a good question. Like, not that much, to be honest. I'd like barely do much, if I'm being honest. You're a founder too, correct?
Yes, I am, but
Exactly.
I don't think founders should say that. Your investors might be watching.
Oh yeah, that's okay.
What do you have to say to your investors?
Don't invest in bad ideas, only invest in good ideas. And then if there's like evidence behind it, then invest. Don't just invest just because someone said something, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Because in this day and age, anyone can say anything, right?
Anybody can say
We were
anything,
literally
yes.
talking about this during, our car ride, just how fugazi the internet is.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can say like, undersell my thing, I can oversell my thing, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because that's not the only signal you should be watching for if, let's say, you were to invest in somebody, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And where do you think liquidity is flowing in today's market? Is it continued to go to AI, data centers, like?
Honestly, all over the place, and I don't know, to be honest.
Yeah. And do you feel like investors and people are pouring into like Photonics? Do you feel like it's a good
Yeah,
market?
significantly, especially with the rise of like AI and software. The hardware components that power it need to scale up, and photonics has been around for like the last 20 years, and silicon photonics has been now heavily invested in because of this uprise in demand. So if anything, there's more and more innovation happening in it, and it's just growing right now. But to where it'll grow, how long it'll grow for, that I have no clue.
Do you think we're in an AI bubble?
It's a good question. Could be not until it'll only make sense when you look back at it in a couple of years from now.
Got it. And in SF, do you feel like the energy here for founders? Do you think it's a great place to like be a founder still?
For a founder, like yeah, probably the best out of anything else. But it's also SF is one of the places where it's like a group of people have their domain. For example, in New York City, it's like finance. So it's
Right.
like a lot of people you meet, they'll be like, oh, I work in this, XYZ finance, XYZ investment banking.
Right.
Here's the same thing, but in a different domain. So it's like, oh, what are you building? The most commonly asked question here every single day. What I asked you, what you asked me, it's just commonplace.
Yeah, awesome. And how does it also feel to be 20-year-old founder?
It's cool. It's like, I'm thinking more of it an experience. Obviously, I have like the whole life ahead of me. I mean, I'm sure you do too.
Yeah.
You're not even that much older than me.
Yeah,
But you're just taking this on as experience and then just like seeing where this goes.
got
Correct.
it. Yeah. And
Yeah.
what's your wildest ambitions?
Um,
Like if you were like 90 years old, what would you wish you accomplished?
to provide impact for like the younger generation. So I also teach gymnastics, and like if anything, I kind of want to like somehow make enough money, do whatever I want, and then just invest heavily into that. Because I had a really good experience growing up in gymnastics. My coaches were awesome. The people that supported me were awesome, and I just want to provide that to like everybody else. If that makes sense.
That does make sense abstractly. And gymnastics, could you potentially correlate or transfer any like skills towards gymnastics to the founder, like lifestyle?
For sure. So a lot of it is like mental. So it's like the mental state that you get from it. Most people don't realize until they like gone through the journey. It's like a 15-year long journey, or at least for me it was. And then your little things like dealing with fear, knowing your own body, like not only the physical aspect of it, but also the mental aspect of it. I was like, oh, like how do you turn off everything inside you and just like focus on this one thing if you're at a competition? Or how do you like, hey, I'm scared to do a backflip. If you stood up right now, do you think you could do a backflip or get your mind to like
No.
coordinate? Okay, why?
Personally, because I've never done it before, so I don't know how it feels.
Even though you're strong enough, like
Yeah.
looking at you, you're strong enough. You're like, okay,
I would feel like mentally like blocked to do
why?
it.
Because you're gonna land on your head or something.
Yeah,
How do you get rid of that?
I guess practicing the movements of the components of the movement. So-
Yes. Okay. Correct. That's what everybody says at first, and then once you actually go through it, every single person is different. How their mind works is different, and the way I learned it is through like I guess the sport itself,
Right.
seeing where that goes. So it's like how to get over your fears, how to just bypass your body and your mental blocks.
Got it. And do you currently like? What's the living situation? You live with the founder, Hacker House, like?
Oh yeah, for sure. Me and my co-founder just found an Airbnb. Simple as that. We go to the office. We code there sometimes. If we don't feel like going to the office, it's pretty relaxed.
Nice, nice. Would you say you enjoy your lifestyle right now as a
My
founder?
say it again.
Would you say you enjoy your lifestyle right now as a founder?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's not like the worst thing ever, but it's also not like the best thing ever.
What would be the best thing for you right now?
If we got money, if we have revenue,
Got
that would
it.
be pretty
so
cool.
you're pre-revenue right now.
We are pre-revenue. We have
So you
no
guys-
revenue
So
right now.
you guys raise pre-revenue.
We raise pre-revenue and like pre-customers. Yes.
You must have a solid idea.
Hopefully. Or at least the people behind us think it's a solid idea.
That's awesome. So what is your plan going to market, and how do you feel like you can get customers?
That's exactly what I'm figuring out. So far we've gone to the point, like, let's say from like in a startup sense, you go from zero, like no, nothing to like, let's say you like approach someone, you figure out who they are, you talk to them, you get them to sign, you pay them money. And then obviously once you get them to sign and pay money, how do you like keep recurring that? So they like, and build out from that.
Yeah.
So there's a process to that. Right now, we've only discovered the process of like how to find the people that we need, and then get their contact info, if that makes sense.
So the conversion, the sales cycle is
Correct.
where you're kind of.
So now we're
having
seeing
some
like,
friction.
yes, how do you like there's interest in people? How do you actually convert that into, hey, here's money, not just like, oh, that's cool, like we might use it.
Yeah, I'll definitely be able to talk to you about that. But right off the bat, it's like, how do you pilot your value? You know.
Pilot our value, so we're trying to just get in front of people, because if no one knows you exist, you will have, even if you have the best product ever, just no one will buy it, correct?
Right, distribution. Yeah.
So just get in front of people, seeing what they think, pivoting ideas, and not taking one person too literally as in like, oh, this is what you should do, because again, we're the experts, so we're guiding the ship. So it's
Right.
like whatever other whatever they're called, sailors on your
Yeah.
ship say what we should do. Obviously, you take their opinion as a good captain, but at the end of the day, you're still the one that's like guiding the ship.
Absolutely. Okay, so how have you been generating these leads?
How have we what?
Generating these leads.
We've tried a couple of things, literally from knocking to professors' doors, like going inside buildings. We went to University of Arizona, Harvard, MIT, just knocked. That has like a mediocre success rate. Cold emailing has turned to 0 because people like, I'm guessing the photonics space don't really like cold emails.
Yeah.
LinkedIn is a more favorable at like around 5-10% people respond. But the best one is trade shows. So we went to this big conference, the biggest conference for photonics, and then we got a stack of business cards, probably this big, from people who are like, oh, this is cool. And now we're just going through that and trying to convert that
Nice,
and learning
nice.
how to pivot that.
Who's your dream customer?
In terms of what? Getting acquired or like having them onboarded?
Like a client who's paying for your services. Who?
No, probably like Google or something. Any of like the major fan companies.
And what would they want from your services?
For us to be involved in every single experiment that they do and then have full context of everything they do, for them to implement AI, to make analyses, and to make innovation drive faster at these companies.
Got it. So let's talk about the actual technical details here. So you said this is
sure.
a wrapper?
Basically, you can think of that. That's how I like undersell it, ideas. Some people find it funny, some people don't.
Got it. Okay, so what are you guys wrapping with? Like, what's the model?
For sure. Good question. That's more on my co-founder side. He's the more technical guy. But essentially what we do is you have different files, correct?
Yeah.
And then from these files, we deduce metadata. For example, if you're in an experiment, let's say like as simple as like what temperature did you run this experiment in? Somebody would usually either type that in or remember that in their head or like have it standardized. But the AI doesn't know that. So if we take these little micro bits of data per each experiment and then correlate them between the two, and then what were similarities, what were differences, we basically get a knowledge graph. So it's like file A, file B, file C, and then similarities, differences with the files between. And then from there, an AI can easily traverse to be like, hey, I saw this pattern in like XYZ experiments since all of them are interlinked, but not in these experiments. We can make analyses that a human would either take lots of hours or might not even come up
So
with
you're
them.
creating correlations through common data.
That is basically correct, yes.
Got it. And outside of research labs, who, and Google, I guess, who else is a prime ICP or ideal customer fit?
The exact two people you mentioned is basically a spectrum. All the way from like PhD students, we have a couple of pilot users that are just like using it for their own for free just because like they want to. Then research labs, startups, smaller companies, and then all the way to bigger companies. So it's the full range of spectrum. And then obviously depends on how much needs they need for like security, usage. Like Google's gonna use it way more than a PhD guy. That's correct. And then that's how we like price our scale accordingly.
Is your pricing model variable or fixed?
What does that mean?
So like, you guys be charging by API tokens or like, what? How do you guys price your services?
We can get a more of a pricing accurate. Right now, we're just trying a bunch of things. So
Like
we're
if
either,
someone
like-
came to you and be like, I want to buy this, how would you price
Oh,
that?
for sure. Monthly or annual subscription, and then based on usage. So we give them like access to like.
So there's a fixed component with the
There is.
subscription, and
Yep.
then there's a variable component with how much usage there.
Yep, basically correct.
Got it. And you guys have an API?
Yes, the whole thing runs from an API.
When did you learn about APIs?
Like a week ago.
Did your interns teach you about that?
Yes, I had to ask one of the interns. Some guy at our conference asked something about an API, and I was like, yeah, because I'm really good at like BSing a lot of things. So I just said yeah, because it's like whatever they say, I'm like yeah. We have, of course, we have that. Yep. And then I was like back on my phone, I like texted the group chat saying like, what is an API? And then they just thought I was the dumbest guy ever.
They were like, who's our boss?
Yeah, who's our boss? Exactly.
No, you're good. You're still learning. That's awesome. Okay. And do you have any questions you would like to address to the audience that are listening to you?
If you have photonics people, just reach out to founder@optixlog.com or just go on the site. Try it out, see what works.
That's what's up.